Sometimes life doesn't turn out the way we want it to. And the trick is in how you deal with your setbacks. And recently, a friend of mine had a fairly major one, and I'm going to talk to him about it. So cue the music, and we're going to get started. Joining me today, my second repeat guest, is my friend Dan Kalbfleisch, Sumo Dan, who recently competed in the North American Championships in sumo wrestling. And unfortunately, it didn't quite go the way he had hoped. And so he's joining me to talk about that. Dan, how you doing today?
I'm doing great until you mentioned my losses.
No problem. I would like to take everybody's good morning and ruin them.
Yeah, mission accomplished.
Thank great. Again, I want to thank you because it's hard to talk about when things don't pan out, especially something that a lot of stake was put into. And you're a very big person for doing that. So thank you. Let's just dive in.
I lost, Bruce. That's diving in.
That is diving in. So yeah, the last time you were on, you were talking about your training routine, your partner, Zach, and you were very excited to go. What happened?
A lot of things happened, Bruce. You last time you asked me about my mindset, and basically I went in there thinking I'm going to win, and I had no concept of even losing. So when I lost my first match, I had no idea what was going on because it's been a long time since I lost anything in the U.S. But I lost. I went into that tournament expecting to take 2 golds, and I only came out with 1 bronze. So very shocking to my ego.
I'm curious because sumo happens really fast. You mentioned it's like a 5 to 10 second thing, and boom, like it starts and it's over. When did you realize? What was that moment like?
Yeah, well, it happened within 5 seconds. The first loss happened within 5 seconds, but and he was a 600-pound Hawaiian who ended up winning the heavyweights. But I went in there. Well, I thought strong. Obviously, I mean, I didn't tell anybody this when I went in, but 4 weeks before the tournament, I hyperextended my knee, and then 1 week before the tournament, I re-injured my arm from a tournament in Milan 2 years ago. So I know I wasn't 100%, but my mindset still said, "Oh, at 70%, you can still beat everybody." And in a combat sport where it's only 5 seconds long, once your injury gets aggravated in the match, there's no time to recover. So that was my biggest thing. I couldn't. One is upset that I didn't win, but like 2 is the upset that I didn't perform and show the crowd and the audience and all the people who were rooting for me, like my techniques and the way I can, like different ways I could. So, yeah, but injuries, I think, and that's right now. That's the only thing I can blame is the injuries. But I never know because people go against me and they beat me. Doesn't matter if I'm injured or not. I'm still in the ring and they still win. So.
I mean, it's the nature of combat sports, as you said, and injuries are part of the game.
So anybody not fighting at 100% still has it in their head. It's like, oh, if only I were 100%, could I have won or I should have won, And now I'll never know,
So that was the first match then. And of course you got further, I assume you got further hurt from that loss.
Well, hurt mentally. I mean, I went in the tournament not being able to bend my knee, which is something you kind of need in sumo. So 1 knee was gone. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't, yeah, I can't blame, anything other than the injuries. I think I was 100%, I thought mentally I was 100%, but my body was maybe 70%, or even less now that I think about it.
So how did it affect you coming out of the tournament? You got a bronze, which I think, I mean, you've won championships, tons of championships. Yeah. So for you, that's a massive disappointment. Some other people, they themselves might be like, well, he got a bronze. That's still a victory.
I know. especially on the day where everybody was congratulating me for taking the bronze, but I was just like, this is not what I wanted. I mean, I felt like I wanted to throw it in the trash, but I didn't want to disrespect the other athletes who beat me, and I didn't want to disrespect the tournament producers because it's not their fault, But I felt like yeah, it's heartbreaking, man. It felt as bad as getting broken up with.
Because you had a lot riding on these victories. Your entire, you had plans to go to the world tournament. I believe you had several deals lined up that were hinging on winning. How did this affect you? And again, I really appreciate you talking about these difficult things. I just think it's good to hear. Everybody loses in their life, and it's good to hear how we cope and to learn how to cope better. Because for a lot of people, it just stops them. But that's not what I believe is in your nature.
No, I don't plan on being stopped. I just, I had a few opportunities and a few, I had a few, fire, irons in the fire ready to go after I won the tournament. But since that didn't happen, my opportunities I have changed. And when they say don't put all your eggs in one basket, don't do that. Not that I put all my eggs in one basket, but there was a lot riding on it for me, at least, project wise. So now, that happened. It was on December 11th, and I had Christmas and now New Year's, and so right now you have just time to reflect and time to think about what my next step is what I want to be when I grow up, I guess.
Well, we know what you want to be. You want to be a writer and an actor.
Or
that's part of your basket.
That is part of my basket. And, I took some time studying acting, studying writing, storytelling, especially film storytelling, and maybe I can move on to that. I think maybe I can get down to actor shape. I know Eric the trainer; he can help me get down to an actor action body, I guess.
I could see you as the bodyguard / hitman / mafioso type. So I don't know that you necessarily need to go a full, lose 150 pounds. I think you get yourself down, maybe, I say this weight like it's a small amount of weight, but you get down 60 pounds and you kind of look like the Kingpin.
Yeah. I don't need to lose 100 and some pounds, but I mean, I can lose 100 pounds. You know that. And I'm already
I know you. Yeah.
I'm at 350 right now, so I can stand to lose 100.
Did you have any crisis moments in the period of time after the tournament? Did anything sort of? Did you have moments of either, for lack of a better way of putting it, depression, or was it just sort of like a sense of disappointment? To what degree, on a scale of 1 to 10, did it hurt?
I think I've only been kind of depressed once in my life, and to be honest, I had my heart broken once, so it didn't feel nothing nearly as bad as that. I just had this kind of sense of dread and what next for about a week, and it didn't affect me too bad. Like, I went back into the gym and everybody asked me how I did, and I just had that low head, like, I don't want to tell you. And it was weird because I felt that I disappointed a lot of people who were rooting for me, not necessarily at the tournament, but rooting for me in life, and they didn't treat me any different. And I was like, what? Why aren't you treating me different? I lost, So it only lasted about a week. I'm still my jovial self, but there's still definitely that dread. I'm going to go on vacation for a week now, but when I come back, I got to actually think about what I want to do with my life.
But that's the important thing. You're like, okay, I'm going to take some time off and I'm going to pick something up. You're not being static. You gave it some time, and now you're going to pick up something. You don't necessarily know what that is. But, I mean, one of the things is a web series. You're going to try to get this little web series that all web series are little, but that wasn't meant to be like, oh, your little web series, you cute little thing, you.
Yeah, I've have a few projects. I have a bunch of irons in the fire, but it's about finding the right people, because in entertainment industry, it's all collaborative. So you can start one thing, you can start the writing process, but you need to find people who can produce it, direct, and act in it. And I'm still getting my foot in the door in that aspect. So yeah, a lot of these writing projects that hopefully I can, co-act in and co-direct or something like that, are still there. I just, I need to get my foot in the door and get these going, but again, I need to get a few drafts written to make sure they're well done before I even take the next step. So, or at least I feel. Yeah.
No, it's always good to refine your brain droppings into a very nice cohesive form and sort of deal with the problematic issues that are in the first or second draft before you go show it to somebody. One of the things that I used to do is after my second draft, I would actually hire an external editor to go through it. One, to capture all the horrible spelling mistakes that I'm inevitably going to make, but also then they would come back with various notes. And since they are somebody I don't know, and this is what they professionally do, sometimes in those notes are some interesting things like, okay, this thing's a little unclear. And I think it cost me like $1 a page to hire somebody once or twice. So it's always a neat step before you then send it out to people whom you're really trying to rope in.
Thanks, Bruce. That's good advice. Good advice, Bruce. I appreciate it. Yeah, like I said, I still gotta come back from vacation before I decide what step I want to take. But yeah, I think I'll be on the right track, especially with the group of people I know. They can lead me in the right direction. But again, I've already had a few people try to lead me in different directions, and and that thing, you got to determine what direction is the best way to go.
Well, yeah, you've got to evaluate it's like everything else in life. Everyone wants to give you their opinions and their advice, especially in the group of people you hang out with. And you have to determine which bits of this make sense to you and how to utilize it.
Yeah, I think things will work out. I just, yeah, let me get on it. It's right now we're recording in January, so, new year, new you, that kind of attitude. So, speaking about new year, new you, Bruce, did we do an update yet? Or?
Oh, I've actually not really been doing updates, but right now what I'm doing in the first week of January is I've started coming off the new year because I effectively took about from Christmas to New Year's off doing anything and partook of the holidays. I'm now doing, partially as a test to see if I can do this, I'm on a 2 to 3 week fast. I'm not 100% sure how long I want to go with it. And I'm also specifically trying to work out hard because what I'm curious about is, can I do this fast while putting in a lot of effort? And will things like autophagy take protein from like my loose skin and various other parts of my body and provide the strength building that I need as I'm doing, trying to like get more out of my chest press. Mm. So like last night I had a workout it was a fairly small workout because I had taken Liz down to start her working out again, but I began working on my chest press, and then tomorrow I'll go back and I'll see if I can do the same amount, if I can do more, or if I'm weaker.
Okay.
And see if I can do that on a fast. Cause I don't, for a lot of fitness information is all subjective and often by inference. So I'm going to figure out for me whether am I getting weaker? Am I getting stronger? Is my endurance going down? According to today, I'm doing fine. And I'm like 3 days in. So that's what I'm doing. I haven't really weighed myself because I know my weight's going to be up.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give myself a couple weeks, then I'll weigh myself and kind of ground myself again. So that's where I'm at.
But if you decide that you're being weaker, you're going to start eating again, I hope? Or are you still going to try the fast?
I want to do the experiment.
Okay.
So I'm going to see what the 14 to 21 days are for me. Because ultimately, and I do want to say, I keep saying this whenever I talk about fasting to people, because what I can do is different than what other people can do. Do not try to do this unless you are very experienced with fasting. If you're curious about fasting, only like do a 24 to 48 hour fast. Or even if you haven't really even started, just do some intermittent fasting. Don't do what I'm doing. What I'm doing is very extreme. And I understand that and realize that I'm not thinking that, oh, this is something anybody can do. It's not. So disclaimer.
I think it's weird they call it a fast because the time goes by really slow.
You'd think. I will say one of the things that I've learned about fasting is once you get past the initial 48 to 72 hours, your stomach effectively kind of goes into like a rest mode. So you don't get all that hungry. And if I can distract myself for 10 minutes, if I'm feeling a hunger pang, it just goes away. So I'm now editing all this stuff. I'm trying to do all of this production. And so I can distract myself really easy. So my day flies by because it's full of stuff to do. Since I'm not doing computer work anymore, that was a hunger trigger for me, because whether I was hungry or not, by trying to do computer work, I'd stuff my face. So, which of course, if somebody's sitting there at a job they hate, that's probably how they deal with it.
Yeah. No, I think I've only gone 24 hours. Is probably the longest fast. Right now I'm working on like a 2 to 3 hour fast right now because I haven't eaten breakfast yet. So.
Well, do you eat before you go to the gym, or, because I know from here you're going to the gym?
Oh, do you now? Bruce, you know my schedule. What a sweet.
Well, I mean, you explicitly told me, but otherwise I would just infer that you were heading there to get your comfort love from Jason and from Dorian and from Eric.
Yeah, I personally don't like working out on a full stomach. I know some people do. Like mostly the skinny guys like eating before they work out because they need that quick energy release. But like I can't work out with something in my stomach, whether it's whether I'm training, weight training or training sumo, I can't have anything in my stomach. So no, I usually don't eat. I eat a little bit earlier, maybe an hour ago, but yeah, when I get to the gym, my stomach's fine.
Yeah, I know a lot of people like that where there's no possibility of having food. I'm one of those as well, but for some people, if there's a little bit in the stomach, it's about 5 minutes between starting working out and running to the toilet to throw up.
I do that. I just feel I don't I don't want to know, Bruce.
Getting back to mindset. What would your advice be to somebody who always finds themselves stunted by a failure, a loss, a trip in the road that they can't get over? What are some I know innately for you, you are the kind of person who you are jovial and you are also focused. So you kind of have that innately, but what advice would you have for somebody who doesn't have that innately?
I don't know. I've always lived my life where, you can have a failure, but I ultimately always knew it didn't matter. Not like a big failure, like a DUI, or a big failure, like, I don't even know I'm just trying to think of another big failure, but,
could have broken a limb.
Yeah. Broken an arm, doing something stupid, but really the trivial things, like even a sumo tournament, a sports tournament, I know it's trivial. Like I want to win and a lot was riding on it, but it's not life or death, so I've always understood that. Like if I had a bad grade as a kid, it didn't matter, Not that I didn't care, but I knew it didn't matter, So I think I always live my life like it's not that important. Everything is lighthearted. Everything, should be. So I think somebody set in that lifestyle, I don't know what kind of advice to give to them other than say, hey, it doesn't really matter. Like I said, I felt bad for a week. And when I got back to the gym and, all these guys were like, oh, how'd you do? And, I had to tell them I lost. It didn't matter to them. A lot of things don't matter. Like in your head, you build up things. But I knew that. But it helps to get reinforcements saying, "Hey, we don't care. We love you anyway." So.
Kind of a lot of the problems are a lot of what you perceive as are going to be the negative outcomes, the negative consequences of these things mostly are more built up in your mind than the actual consequences turn out to be in real life.
Yeah. But even like this, I had business opportunities riding on it, and yeah, it sucks that those don't happen, but ultimately doesn't matter in the big spectrum of things. I have other opportunities. I'm still Sumo Dan, 12-time champ. Like that doesn't take away, that doesn't take that away. Although, it feels like it. Thanks for bringing this up, Bruce.
No problem. Breaking your heart is what I like to
Thank
do.
you.
Your tears are like nectar to me.
But you're on a fast, so I'll save them for you.
Yeah, I'm on a fast, so I can't partake of the nectar. God damn it. No, again, like I said, I appreciate you being willing to talk about these not necessarily happy things. And I feel like sometimes my tone might be a little more, hey, I'm on the radio. I'm talking in a jovial voice about, tell me a little more about your abject loss.
I'm not that upset.
So,
yeah, I understand. Like again, I just that we're talking about it, and I was like, oh, but I'm not that upset. Like I just didn't. It was just so weird. I didn't expect to lose at all. I had no concept of that, and that's weird.
I just know so many people who get paralyzed by even the slightest of setbacks or losses. Hell, even people who go out and they go to shoot pool and they lose at shooting pool, and then they react to it as if a relative has been shot in front of them and just absolutely are terrible, terrible losers, and they get depressed or angry over that. And that's just a horrible way to live, because I think it so blocks somebody from fulfilling their potential. If you've got that mindset where any setbacks devastate you, which is again why I wanted you on, because you are not like that. And I think you're a very good example for people who, specifically in the realm of weight loss, they were trying to stick to a diet and then they broke one night. And that break, instead of being a contained thing, they failed, and that failure leads to a downhill slope. And I'm hoping that this in some way form addresses that kind of mindset. That was my purpose.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, let's bring it back to the concept of your podcast. Which is great. But yeah, that mindset. And again, I've gone through that. Like when I would start, I've been on diets, so you lose a bit of weight, and then you break it, you break the habit for a little bit, but you know how to do it. That's the thing. Like once people start losing weight and they know how to do it, they could always go back to it. There's no stopping them from going back to it, other than the mental block. So you fail a little bit, people know. I mean, just COVID happened, and there's a few people that I know gained the weight back. But you I don't know, maybe someone like that.
There might be somebody in this room who did that himself.
Oh yeah. That's one of the people I was referring to. But it wasn't just you. Like other people I know have done that, and they know they can go back, and as a friend, you want to encourage them to, all right, just go back. You know how to do it. I mean, that's the simplest thing you can say, you don't need to berate them saying, "Oh, what'd you do, man? You were doing so well, and you fucked up." But no, it was like, you know how to do it. Just encourage them to do it, and don't give them any shame. But as someone going through it, people loved you who you were before. They're not going to love you now since you took a break in your weight loss. They're not going to love you less. I mean, because you took a break in your weight loss. It's like, but you know how to do it, so just go back and do it.
You get into the mindset of, well, God, I've ruined it and nothing matters. And then you get depressed. And it's true. If you can just somehow get that mental, break stop where it's like, okay, this was not what I wanted. But that doesn't mean tomorrow I can't pick back up or tonight I can pick back up and then continue, because it is muscle memory. It's always the first step that seems to be the hardest.
Well, I mean, again, like with mine, I can go back to do sumo better once my knee can bend. I still got a little bit of healing, but again, if that's your thing, if you're injured, let's say you're walking and that's why you can't walk for a bit. That's why you can't lose any more weight, because you don't have that exercise. Heal up and get back out there, and do it. Yeah, anybody watching this now who really wants to lose that weight or in this specific break, or relapse of eating, you can go back to it. It's not that hard, and it doesn't matter that you messed up. It doesn't matter. Just go back and do it.
Just go back and do it. After your vacation, Dan, where can people find you when they're not finding you here on my podcast?
Well, I am on Instagram, I think. Yeah, Instagram at Sumo Dan USA. I think I'm on Twitter as the same. I don't do too much.
You have a website. I'm throwing that out there. You could put that out there.
Oh, I do. I think it's still up. SumoDan.com might still be up. I also actually I have some sumo shirts on Etsy. So Etsy/Sumo Dan. I got a couple of sumo designs. If you interested in a Sumo Dan t-shirt, check me out. Bruce, I got to get you a sumo shirt. Once you lose the weight, once you determine what size you're going to be, I'll get you a nice snug shirt.
Once I get into larges again,
okay,
then I want shirts. And until that time, all of my shirts are Fruit of the Loom, because I don't want to spend money on them and I want to be able to throw them out when they wear out, which for Fruit of the Loom is fairly fast. Probably not going to be endorsed by Fruit of the Loom at any time soon.
But a large though, Bruce. I think I was like 12 the last time I wore a large.
Sadly, it might be the same for me. Actually, that's not true. It's not true. Anyway, as for me, you can find me wherever you find your favorite podcasts. My social medias are at Fittest Fat Kid, wherever they are, including Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and my Facebook page. If you want to share your story, if you just need advice, if you want to reach out, you can reach out to me at hithere@fittestfatkid.com. This is the first recording I've done where I can say I finally have my website, and it is at www.fittestfatkid.com. So I can't do that. I'm still trying to make it bit anymore. Thank you. Anyway, so no matter who you are, no matter where you are or what you're doing, hold yourself accountable, but do it with kindness and understanding. And I'll talk to you next week.